Hello everyone, happy Sunday. I'm Steve, Mark's at work, and it's the Smoky Steve and Mark. Either welcome or welcome back. First thing I want to draw your attention to, and it'll dovetail nicely into the video. The lighting in here is not ideal. I'll tell you why. Bandit is sitting in the window, and I don't want to disturb him by closing the curtains so that I can use, the other lighting I normally use, such as it is, while I'm filming. And I really, really don't want to upset him. So, a couple things I wanted to touch on, and I'll start with my cat, and then we'll get into human beings, because the fact that it starts with my cat is very telling. My cat owns me. My cat's name is Bandit. Mark and I have had Bandit for about 5 years. Now, just to set the stage, I've never had a pet before, of any kind, growing up. My parents both worked, my brother and sister and I were in school, and we lived on kind of a busy street. I didn't grow up in the country or anything. I didn't grow up in the city. It was like a small town. Nevertheless, there was nowhere for like a dog to run around. My mom was allergic to cats, and so was my sister. And actually, so am I, a little bit. It's gotten better. So we didn't have any pets. And I never lived in a place that would allow pets, and I always had roommates, and then it didn't happen until 5 years ago. So we get our first animal. And, the story of how we got Bandit was that I was in the middle of a mixed manic episode due to a medication change. But that's neither here nor there. At any rate, we got Bandit. Now, at first I was afraid of him because I didn't want to upset him. His first night here, he was uncomfortable because it was his first night in a new house. I understand that now, but he would hide under the bed and just swat at us. When I would go to take a nap when he first got here, I would close the bedroom door and leave him out here, and he would scratch incessantly, but I was afraid that he would sit on my face and smother me in my sleep. I've heard of such things happening. And so one of the ways that I was going to start bonding with him that we decided is that I was going to be responsible for feeding him. Mark handles a lot of the other stuff with Bandit because he doesn't mind, he says, and he knows what he's doing. So he's looking at me now. He's cleaning himself and glaring. So I feed him, which builds some camaraderie. Of course, now every time I go in the kitchen, he stares at me. Again, I don't want to disappoint him. So if he comes into the kitchen and I'm doing dishes or whatever, and he sits there and just looks up, I feel compelled to give him the treat because he made it all the way into the kitchen, and I don't want to disappoint him. At dinner time, we try a new food on him every once in a while. Wet food. He gets dry food all day, and then he gets one serving of wet food a day, but sometimes if he wants like a little snack, I'll take a little spoonful out of his wet food for dinner and put it in the bowl. He doesn't seem to care the volume, he just cares how many times he gets to go back for something sweet. So he owns me. Whenever he wants to eat, he knows how to get it out of me. And he gives us so much, I feel like kind of bad because he's a house cat, so he doesn't get to do much. He just gets to look outside. So I just want to give him as good a life as we can, so I probably go a little bit over the top. Plus, he's not affectionate with me at all, and he more or less hates me when I'm not feeding him. This is not news to anyone. It's more like he's Mark's cat than mine. He won't touch me. He won't come near me. I'm holding out hope that one of these days he will. So this goes into my general issue that I've had off and on with people pleasing. So, by the way, it's stevia with monk fruit, almond milk, and Hershey's syrup. Kind of negates the stevia, but it's my Sunday. So, with people, the issue seems to be that I really, really like approval. I'm thrown back to like The Simpsons, which is a show I love, and Lisa going to Marge because school was off for that day, and she was like, test me, grade me, rank me, I'm good, and oh so smart. And that's how I, tend to carry myself even into adulthood. I've always thought the approval of, not my peers so much, I mean, there's peer pressure, and I would have liked for them to have liked me and not have felt so ostracized. I said before, I didn't go to school with mean kids. I just didn't fit in very well. So I don't know that I would even label that bullying exactly. But people in positions of power or influence, I wanted their approval. So I didn't really care if my classmates did or didn't like me, as long as the teacher thought my accomplishments were good. Um, I really cared about that. Uh, when I was getting sick and I was going into and out of mental health facilities, drug and alcohol treatment centers, I didn't really care about showing off for the other clients who were there, but I would become like the star patient because I wanted staff to say, "You're doing so well. You're gonna make it. You're gonna live the rest of your life sane and sober and blah 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 blah." Um, because I wanted that approval. I wanted it from above, that I was, in some strange state of grace above everybody else. And their, little pat on the head confirmed that. So, but it's funny. It's not just people in positions of approval, and that still happens at work at this point. I'll get my employee review, and I look at it, and if it says, exceptional, exceptional, average, and that's the only thing I see is the average. I'm like, what did I do that was average? I wasn't exceptional? And this is ridiculous. Please read this as neurotic and not prideful, boastful. And if it is coming off like that, please understand that it's just, a smokescreen for my cripplingly low sense of self when it comes to comparing myself to other people. So I would seek it at work. But also even in just interactions with strangers, I don't want to be a person who's not perceived favorably. And that's a baseline. And again, sometimes it's stronger than others. Some days it's kind of like, this is me, this is how I am, I will be respectful, and if you have any issues with it, you can go shove it up your nose or somewhere else. And then other days, I have a hard time interacting with cashiers because maybe I'm paying with two forms of payment. Maybe I'm paying with my debit card and then I'm paying for this in cash, and I don't want them to be put out by my number of transactions. So I try to put it together that I don't have to bother them with my purchase. Little stuff like that. Ordering food over the phone. I don't want to order like special orders. I was like, well, I don't really want to bother them to say, is the crust gluten-free? Like, just for an example, I don't eat gluten-free stuff. But I just feel like compelled not to bother anybody. I don't know, I guess must have, for a chunk of my life, felt like I was bothering everybody or taking up too much space, or like I needed to apologize for being born. There's a strain that runs through my family is Catholic, and there's kind of a silent ethic of whoever can suffer in silence the longest without complaining wins. I'm not saying that's every family. I'm saying that's how it seems to have translated in the grandparent generation. So there's something noble about not being happy in your day-to-day interactions, I guess, and not complaining about it, and making sure the other person is being fully accommodated, even if it means you don't get what you want out of a situation. And I think I've just expanded on that into other areas of my life, whether it's with work, whether it's with interactions with other people, stuff like that. So the resolution to that, I've gotten a little bit better with kind of say what you need, say what I mean what I say, but don't say it mean. That's another, thing that kind of boosted me out of it a little bit. When it comes to areas of like activism and stuff, I'm not shy. When there's causes that I care about, sometimes you cannot shut me up. So there is that. But it's still a work kind of in progress. It definitely affected previous relationships. It's not so much impacting Mark and I now, but I stayed in some previous relationships way too long because I didn't want the other person to not like me. And I would agree to things that were things I totally disagreed with because I was like, please like me, don't leave. Please like me, don't leave. Please like me, don't leave. And I would do and say so many things that in hindsight I was like, wow, you're a hypocrite for going along with that stuff. So it's not as pervasive as it used to be, but it's still pervasive enough that I'm sitting here in questionable lighting because I don't want to close the window because I don't want the cat to think unfavorably of me. So that's my chit chat on a Sunday afternoon for the last coffee talk. I'm about to hop in the shower, and then the weekend's officially over because I'm slipping back into a pair of underwear. So thank you all for listening, and thank you for watching. Please do subscribe and give us a thumbs up. You can follow Mark and I on Facebook at SmokeySteveAndMarc or on Instagram at SmokeySteveAndMarc. Our email and contact information's below. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow is Mondays with Mark, so we'll catch up with y'all tomorrow. Bye.